I will be doing a quick tank review for all of the Japanese heavies that are going to be added in patch 9.10, and I will give you my opinion on them. To get to the Japanese heavies, you will have to just go through the tier 1 and the tier 2 that lead to the type 91. When patch 9.10 or whenever the Japanese heavies are added in, I would do the tank reviews for them ASAP. The type 91. This is a pretty small medium if you want to compare it to the tier 10. But before I get to that, all of the Japanese heavies, as you go up and go, all of the Japanese heavies, as you go up in the tiers, the Japanese heavy focus they like to have big guns, thick armor, and they like to be big, which I will touch upon later. And the downside to certain Japanese heavies that you play, they tend to have more module damage, and also the crew members tend to be injured more. But that varies from tank to tank. The Type 91. This vehicle, just like a lot of the Japanese heavies until you get to the tier 9 and 10, they have a lot of weak spots, such as flat plates of armor. I am looking at the side here exactly, and the hatches. Well, enemy tanks can easily penetrate it. The multiple turrets, I would assume, they are going to be a weak part as well. The Type 91. This is a decent Tier 3 heavy tank. Also, this is the first ever Tier 3 heavy tank, which is not that bad nor good. The good thing about the Type 91, you have a choice of two guns. The 7-inch gun. This is a howitzer pretty much, with a bad pen, unless you are using premium rounds. And the 47mm gun, this is slightly better, but you have decent pen and damage output. Now to the Type 95. A bit of a improvement when it comes to hit points and armor, but not much of a improvement. You still have a lot of the same weak areas, multiple turrets and armor. This vehicle, I can see it being one-shotted by vehicles that have a howitzer at tier 4. You have a choice of two guns, the 7-inch howitzer and a 75mm gun. The heavies begin to get bigger from this point onward. The OI experimental tank, this have the same weaknesses as the Type 95. Turrets in the front, which I would assume can be penned easily enough, and one in the rear here. This is the first ever super heavy tank in the game at a tier 5. The armor, it is not that good, but you have a lot of hit points. Unfortunately, the turrets in front, you cannot use them, only the main turret here. The OI tank here, you have a 12 centimeter howitzer with howitzer stats. the 75 millimeter gun, which you would have had unlocked on the Chinoo. And now, the 10 centimeter gun here. This is a pretty good gun. You have relatively okay pen and good damage output for a 100 millimeter gun. At this point, the crew begin to be 6 when you reach tier 5. Unlike beforehand, your crew were made up of 5. The OI. This tank is a bit of an improvement over the OI experiment tank. This tank, it is something like a KV2 mixed with a T150, but with very good frontal and rear armor. If you angle the rear and front armor just right, you can ricochet rounds. Sides for the side armor for the hull is bad, 70 millimeters. Turret is quite well armored though. This vehicle have a lot of the same weaknesses as the Type 95 does, and the OI as well. The OI tank here, I can see it being quite the popular tier 6, especially if you use it right. The gun that you have is a 100 millimeter gun, which have relatively good pen and good damage output as well. The upgraded gun is a 15 centimeter howitzer, which have howitzer's stats. This gun, it's a wannabe KV2. Whenever this 15 centimeter howitzer hits, you are going to be doing a lot of damage. I can see people only firing HE from this, just like the KV2 already. Now to the O'Neill, I think how you pronounce it. At this tier, you begin to get tanks that are going to be taller with very good armor. At this tier and above, if you angle the armor just right, you can ricochet a lot of rounds. Still, this vehicle have a lot of the same weaknesses from the front. Rear, you don't have the turret anymore. The one problem that I have with the Japanese heavies on the test server so far is that I find the ammo rack, the crew, and the engine can be damaged easily enough. For a heavy tank, that is pretty bad. The Oni is quite well armored, so if you angle it just right, you can ricochet a lot of rounds. The Oni, if you use the rate of fire to your advantage, you can do a lot of damage. The two top guns that you can choose from, it is a 100 millimeter gun, which is pretty much the exact same gun before it, but have slightly better pen. The other gun, which is good still, it is the 15 centimeter howitzer. Now we go up a tier. The Oho. This tank, it is well armored all around, except for the side hull armor. If you just angle the vehicle armor correctly from the rear or from the front, you can ricochet a lot of rounds. Yet again, this vehicle have the multiple turret weakness from the front and rear. Still, if you angle the armor just right, you can ricochet a lot of rounds with it. The Japanese heavies so far, up to this point and up to tier 10, you will have a lot of hit points, just like the other heavies do. The Oho have the same guns as the Oni. Yet again, all of the heavies use the same 1200 horsepower engine, with the vehicle gaining more weight. The vehicle horsepower to ton ratio get slightly worse, and turning this thing pretty much makes you lose whatever speed that you get. Also, you will have a problem reaching the top speed. Now, the tier 9 and 10, for the most part, they are the same tank, except for a few minor differences. The Type 4, it is quite well armored all around. If you just angle the armor wherever it is, whether it be the side of the vehicle, the front, or even the rear at times, you can get ricochet stills. The Type 4 have a lot of hit points. The Type 4 have two guns to choose from. A 127mm gun, which have a good pen and the same amount of damage potential output without the rate of fire of a TD would. 450 damage on average per a shot, but still, the first gun, it is quite good. The second gun, it is slightly better, but you have a reduce of fire. Pen, it is better, and the damage output increased by a bit. The Type 5. The Type 5 and 4, they are the same tank pretty much. But the Type 5, for whatever reason, it have a slightly better armor. It have a 10 more millimeters of armor in the front, and also plus 10 to the side of the turret as well. While on the test server, I find that the Type 4 and the Type 5 play the same pretty much. The only difference between them, besides the soft paper stats, it is the hit points between both of them. Overall, I think the Japanese heavies are going to be a good fit in the game once you have gotten used to them. Let's do a brief recap on the Japanese heavies. The heavies for them, when they do get to be put onto the live server, is that Japanese heavies focus on the big armaments, the sick armor, the size, which is a pro and con, determine which map you are on, and they have good gun depression. Certain city map that have a lot of debris, you can potentially only show the top part of the tank here and get a lot of ricochets as well. Now to the downside for the Japanese heavies. The tanks themselves don't have a good horsepower to ton ratio, so they are going to be slow. When you are turning, you are going to be losing a majority of the speed as you go up in tiers. I find at times certain Japanese heavies you have a higher chance of the crew and the modules being damaged. The only issue that can actually make playing the Japanese heavies or any heavies whatsoever a bit of a problem is that I find the engine can be set on fire easily enough. So watch out for that. Even with the damaged engine performing at 50%, this tank is going to be very slow already as it is, even with a undamaged engine. The ammo rack and having the dead loaders injured, the loading time is going to be a pain as well. Still, the Japanese heavies are a good tank to play or try out once you have gotten used to them. Overall, I think I'm going to like the Japanese heavies when they are introduced to the game. Whenever the Japanese heavies are added to the game, I'm going to be doing the tank reviews for them whenever they come out. I hope that you learn a thing or two about the Japanese heavies and how to potentially use them when they come out. If you like this video, leave a comment or even follow my channel as well. Good luck on the battlefield, everyone.